10th.
Thank you. All right, we're going to go ahead and I always try to time it after that. All right, we're going to go ahead and begin. It is today is September 26th of 2023. I'm Judge Melanie Williams. Today, this is the state expedited accusations calendar in the state court of Fulton County, Georgia. This calendar is for those individuals who have been recently arrested, but have already been formally accused by the Solicitor General with a misdemeanor offense, and the case has been bound over. All defendants, you have an absolute right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you. You also have a right to counsel at this proceeding. Participants, this particular proceeding is being broadcast over the internet as a live stream. It's also being recorded. That means any member of the public can log on and watch. Have all defense attorneys had the opportunity to speak with their clients?
Yes, Your Honor.
Yes,
All
Your
right.
Honor.
All right. Let's proceed.
Yes, Your Honor.
Steve Weiner, Judge, for Mr. Caldwell. I have not had an opportunity, but I don't think it's necessary. We just want to address bond today.
All right, understood. Thank you. All right, who do we have first?
Good afternoon, Judge Williams. This is going to be position number 9, Mr. Nystrom.
All right, and then after that, can we take Mr. Weiner's position, please?
Going
I
to do
believe
that
that's 2.
afterwards.
All right. Mr. Nystrom, your case is 23 CR 0057638H. You're charged with theft by taking. Do you understand your rights?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Can I have the history, please, Mr. Howard?
31 total. Last was in July for loitering and filing. Got 3 open cases for possession of drug-related objects. Got a shoplifting conviction from this year. 2019 failure to appear. 2018 trespass. 2019 trespass. And a 2017 obstruction conviction.
Okay. Thank you. Mr. Thomas, please proceed.
Good morning, Your Honor, or good afternoon, better yet. Your Honor, the facts of this case is that on September 22nd, 2023, officers responded to 800 West Peachtree Street, Northwest Atlanta, Georgia, 30308 in Fulton County, Georgia, in reference to a motor vehicle theft. Officers spoke with the victim being Michael Hayes, traditional spelling, Hayes. The victim advised that he parked his Highboy S2 scooter at a bike rack and returned to see that it was gone with the cable lock still on the rack but not cut. He advised that the value of the scooter was $300. Video cameras showed that a black male wearing sunglasses, a beige or tan open shirt with a white shirt underneath, teal or green shorts and gray sneakers with a white sole, placed a bike on the rack, then later removed the scooter. 2 days later, a black male later identified as the defendant matched the be on the lookout that was placed because the defendant was wearing the same shorts and undershirt, as well as he matched the same height and weight of the description. Your Honor, given the multi-state offender status, the recent theft by taking as recent as this year, the state is asking for a SOB through the jail and a stay away from the incident location. And if at this time we can sound for the victim, Mr. Michael Hayes, that'd be great, Your Honor.
All right. Did you want to give me the amount of the SOB?
No, at this time, Your Honor, we're just consenting to a SOB. We don't have a specific amount with it.
Okay. Mr. Hayes, are you present and wish to make a statement at this time? Hearing none, Ms. Kim, I'm assuming you have no objection to the SOB and stay away?
No objection, Your Honor.
All right. Defendant will receive a $5,000 SOB through the jail. He's to stay away from that location on West Peachtree Street, and of course, have no alcohol, drugs, or weapons as a condition of that SOB through the jail. Anything further?
Nothing further from defense.
So
All right.
Are you allowing the SOB to signature bond?
I'm giving you a signature bond through the jail, all right?
Okay, thank you, ma'am.
All right, take care.
Yes.
Next, Judge, we have the private attorney's case. Mr. Dwayne,
Mr. Caldwell, is that him?
What position was that again? I'm sorry.
I'm trying to clarify. Is it position 2?
It is position number 15.
Okay.
Is that his case, Judge?
No, I believe his is number 2. Correct, Mr.
Oh,
Weiner? Mr. Caldwell is your client?
He is, Judge. I don't know what number he is on the
Yeah, he's
calendar.
2. Can we do position 2?
Okay, Mr. Caldwell. Where's Mr. Caldwell? Okay, I didn't know you had a private attorney. Come on up, sir.
Move, move quickly, Mr. Caldwell. Thank you. Good afternoon. Your case is 23 CR 0057771E. In this case, you're charged with driving hit and run. And that's only one charge, with the hit and run, with the offense date of September 21st. Do you understand your rights today?
Yes, ma'am. No, sure.
All right. Can I have the history, Mr. Howard?
First arrest, SOB jail was a recommendation.
Okay. All right. Whose case is this for the state?
I'm here, Your Honor.
All right, Ms.
Nina Allen.
Allen.
Thank you.
Yes, good to see you, Ms. Allen. Please proceed.
This is an incident that occurred, one moment. This is a hit and run failure to stop and render aid. One moment, I just lost something.
Okay.
I apologize. The offense date is on the 21st of September.
Yes, that's what I have.
So Sandy Springs police were called to the scene of an accident where the victim, who reported she was struck by a black sedan turning left into her lane, encountered the gentleman who was driving that car. When he got out of the car, they both got out to assess the damage. And when they were arguably returning back to their cars to exchange information about insurance, he got into his car and fled the scene. Her son was able to take a photograph of the license plate of that car, a black Mazda, leaving the scene. Police officers were able to identify the owner of that car through driver's license records, and spoke to James Lamar's father, James Caldwell Sr., who reported that his son is the only person who uses that car, that his son was not at home at the time, but provided police with his contact information, and was informed that his son, being the primary and only user of that car, would be held responsible for the hit and run. The victim in this case does not have an estimate at this point for the damage done to the front of her vehicle, but she was spoken to by our office, and I don't believe she's going to be on the Zoom today. We just heard from pretrial that this is the first arrest, I believe, Mr. Howard, is that what you just said? And so we would be asking for a signature bond through pretrial services, no further contact with the victim, no alcohol, drugs, or weapons, no driving unless to work, legal appointments, or medical appointments, Your Honor. And
What's the victim? What's the
leave that amount
victim's
to you.
name?
The victim's name is Karen, Caron, Bellow, Below.
All right, is Ms. Bellow present and wishes to make a statement? All right, Mr. Weiner, please proceed.
Judge, just that Mr. Caldwell Sr. called me Friday morning. I assume this happened Thursday night. I reached out to Officer Kim from Sandy Springs to find out what the situation was. He did not return my calls. I called him again Saturday. He did not return my calls. Normally, we reach out to the officer and they usually just cite them and send them to Sandy Springs. But he just appeared at my client's house last night and arrested him. So that's basically the facts. I was retained. I've known the family for many years. I think a signature bond is appropriate, Judge. He lives with his father. He's between jobs at the moment, but there's no prior history, and I'm surprised it got this far.
All right. Defendant will receive a $5,000 signature bond through the jail. He is to have no contact whatsoever with Ms. Bellows. Additionally, he's to have no alcohol, drugs, or weapons, and he's not to drive unless he has a valid license or permit issued by the Georgia DDS. I will not restrict his driving further. Is there anything further from either the state or the defense?
No, Your Honor.
No. No, Your Honor, thank you.
All right, best of luck to you, sir. That concludes your case. All right, who do we have next?
Position 15, Mr. Swain, that's a private attorney case.
All right, good afternoon, Mr. Swain. Your case is 23 CR 0057688E. You're charged with making a false report of a crime in July of 2015. July 15th of 2023. Do you understand your rights?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, Mr. Hart, can I have the history, please?
Fourth arrest, 2021, possession of a Schedule 1, misdemeanor possession of marijuana, unlawful possession 20 ounces or less of low THC oil, possession of a firearm during the commission, and possession of drug-related objects. That appears to be open. No, I'm sorry, he's on probation for that, out of Newton County. In 2021, they gave him 5 years probation. 2018, entering restricted area airport, possession of a weapon or long gun. That was NOLO. That's it.
Okay, Mr. Thomas?
Your Honor, the facts of this case is that the officer responded to location of 17015 15th Street, Northeast Atlanta, Georgia, 30309. In regards to a vehicle theft, the defendant stated that he last saw his vehicle, which is a 2022 blue Dodge Challenger, on July 14th at 2023, parked across the street. And when he returned the next morning, it was no longer there. The officer observed that there was no broken glass. The defendant advised that the doors to the vehicle was left open and that he had possession of both of the keys. The defendant said that his tracking was not working for the location. On July 20th, 2023, officers responded to a recovered stolen vehicle at Futos impound lot. Defendant stated that his tracker started to show that his vehicle was at Futos. Management of Futos advised that the vehicle was impounded by Officer Valentine on July 15th. Officer received an email on July 15th. An officer received an email from Progressive Insurance inquiring about the vehicle that was stolen on July 14th and self-recovered the next day. After a thorough investigation by the detective, the defendant later admitted to filing a false report and gave conflicting stories as to what actually happened during the incident. The recommendation from the state, Your Honor, in this matter is a signature bond through the jail.
Okay. All right, Mr. Maloof, any objection to the signature bond and anything different you'd like to put on the record? I'm inclined to grant a signature bond in light of the history and the information before me at this time.
I will certainly not object to a signature bond, and we will deal with this when it comes up. Thank you, Your Honor, but no objection on a signature bond. Thank you, Mr. Thomas.
All right, defendant will receive a $3,500 SOB through the jail. I don't believe the state requested other conditions, and I don't feel any additional are necessary other than no alcohol, drugs, or weapons. Anything additional, Mr. Thomas or Mr. Maloof?
Nothing from the state, Your Honor.
All right, Mr. Swain,
Nothing.
best of luck to you. That concludes your case. Take care. Bye-bye.
Next,
All right.
Judge, this will be add-on position number 1, Erickson.
Oh, I was unaware there was an add-on. Hold on. Okay, your case is 23 CR 0057788A. In this case, you're charged with simple battery family violence. Do you understand your rights?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, Mr. Howard.
First arrest, she was recommended.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Allen, please proceed.
Can you tell me what number this is?
It's add-on 1, Jennifer Erickson.
Okay.
I was unaware there was an add-on as well.
I believe this is a cross defendant, or what we would call a dual arrest, with number 9,
Okay.
Andrew McCormick.
Number 9, I don't have as McCormick. So I have 8 as McCormick, but okay.
Sorry.
That's okay. Dual arrest. All right, if you still give me your recommendation, Ms. Allen.
I absolutely will. One moment. I apologize. So Jennifer Erickson's charge is one count of simple battery family violence for an incident that occurred on September the 25th, 2023. I believe what pretrial just said is that this is the defendant's first arrest. We're recommending a signature bond through pretrial services, a single day anger awareness course, stay away from 32 Ivy Parkway Northeast Atlanta, no further contact with Andrew McCormick, and no alcohol, drugs, or weapons. I can give you a little bit of information about the case.
I appreciate that.
This is a case out of, APD. On the 25th of September in the evening, 11 p.m. Police were called to the location at 32 Ivy, where it was reported that Mrs. Erickson battered Andrew McCormick, striking him, punching and kicking him. She also hit him in the groin while they were struggling, and the warrant includes information that they'd previously lived together throughout the duration of the relationship. Mrs. Erickson was told to go inside while police were on scene. She refused to leave. She admitted to police grabbing the victim, Mr. McCormick, in his genitalia and scrotum. When he attempted to remove her from the home, she kicked and punched him and physically struggled with him. This altercation carried on outside in the parking lot of the residence. And then she ran inside and refused to leave the scene or go to another location. And I believe the physical altercation continued. So the address where this offense occurred is not an address where they currently live together.
Okay. All right.
And let me just make sure we haven't had obviously any contact with the cross defendant, but I'm sure we'll hear about that in a few minutes.
I'm sure we will.
Thank you.
And we won't be sounding because I'm sure he's there as well. Ms. McLeod, I am inclined to grant the signature bond. I'd just like you to speak to the
She's not
contact
my client.
desired.
She's not my client, Your Honor.
Oh, you represent the
yes.
other party. Okay.
But I
Ms.
just want to let you know that he would like to have contact with her.
Okay. Ms. Kim, your client's position regarding contact?
No for the violent contact, Your Honor, please.
Okay. All right. At this time, Ms. Erickson will receive a $4,000 signature bond through pretrial. She's to take the one-day anger awareness course and have no further violent contact with the cross defendant. Additionally, she's to have no drugs, alcohol, or weapons as a condition. Is there anything further?
Nothing further, Your Honor. Thanks.
All right. Can we go ahead and do Mr. McCormick, since that one is the same fact?
Yes, Your Honor, and I'll review the warrants so that we can make note of what the differences are in this situation.
All right. And Mr. Howard, can I have Mr. McCormick's? Oh, wait, let me give him his case number. Mr. McCormick, your case is 23 CR 005775A. You're charged with battery family violence and simple battery family violence with the offense date of September the 25th. Do you understand your rights?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, Mr. Hart, the history, please.
Second arrest, 2012 terrorist threats, dismissed.
Okay. All right, Miss Allen.
Thank you. So again, this is APD, the same incident date, September the 25th of 2023. Police were called to 23 Ivy Parkway in Atlanta. So the warrant says that Mr. McCormick intentionally battered Mrs. Erickson by choking her on the bed and pulling her hair, pulling her by her hair throughout the house. He picked her up and dragged her, causing bruising and bleeding on her knee. When spoken to by police, he admitted to pulling her off of the toilet to remove her from the house, causing substantial harm to both her knees and her arms and leaving marks as he dragged her. And again, they previously lived together as boyfriend and girlfriend in a relationship, but do so no longer.
Okay.
The same terms of what we're asking, Your Honor, is a signature bond through pretrial services, 1 day anger awareness, no further contact with Ms. Erickson, and no alcohol, drugs, or weapons. And I would say, honestly, the victim and the defendant in this case are not in the best situation or position to determine whether or not the public is in danger or they themselves are in danger by having further contact. This is a violent incident that included a dual arrest, and so no further contact is what the state would be requesting, Your Honor.
All right. Ms. McLeod, at this time, I'm inclined to give him a signature bond as well with no further violent contact. Is there anything additional you'd like to put onto the record?
Nothing additional, Your Honor. We are fine with that.
All right. I am going to require the 1 day anger awareness, however. All right. Defendant is going to receive a $4,000 SOB through pretrial per judge if he was not recommended. He's to take the 1 day anger awareness course and have no further violent contact with the cross defendant, last name Erickson. Additionally, he's to have no drugs, alcohol, or weapons. Is there anything further?
Judge, will you break it down? He has 2 charges.
I'm sorry, 2,000 each count.
Thank you.
All right. Anything further?
Nothing further, Your Honor.
All right. Best of luck to you, Mr. McCormick. That concludes your case.
Thank you.
Your Honor, my client only had a 1 charge and she had 4,000 SOB. Can we reduce that to 2,000 then, Your Honor?
No, we cannot. It'll be the same. Thank you, Ms. Kim.
Thank you.
Position 7, Gatson.
All right, good afternoon. Your case is 23 CR 005776A. You're charged with disorderly conduct, obstruction, and public drunkenness with the offense date of September the 25th. Do you understand your rights?
Yeah.
All right, can I have the Howard? Can I have the history, Mr. Howard?
18 total, 2021 obstruction, possession of meth, possession of drug-related objects. 2021 failure to appear, simple battery conviction. 2019 forgery, disorderly conduct. 2019 theft by taking obstruction. 2017 and 18 probation. 2015 and 2012 battery DV arrest.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Allen?
Thank you, Your Honor. So as you said before, this is an incident from September the 25th. This is again, this is a Union City Police Department report at 10:17 p.m. Police were called to 6604 Londonderry Way in Union City, where the defendant, Mrs. Gatson, that's Gatson, was observed to be publicly intoxicated. She appeared to have been in an intoxicated condition and caused a disturbance at a business. She was yelling, cursing, and using vulgar and profane language. This is at the La Quinta Inn at 6604 Londonderry Way. An employee of that business was actually the 911 caller. She was identified by the employee as the individual who was causing a disturbance. She came onto the property, knocking on doors loudly. She was told to leave the location multiple times, and she was obviously intoxicated. The charges are disorderly, willful obstruction, and public drunk. And so the obstruction is going to be specifically refusing to provide police when they came on scene with her name, date of birth. She was asked multiple times. She didn't offer any violence, so obviously we're not talking about a felony, but just in general obstruction. The request from the state, Your Honor, is a signature bond through pretrial services to stay away from that location, the La Quinta Inn at 6604 Londonderry. Londonderry is one word, and that's in Union City. No further contact with Kimani Hollis, Hollis. Kimani is spelled Kemoni. No alcohol, drugs, or actually an evaluation, alcohol, drugs, evaluation and treatment if suggested, and no alcohol, drugs, or weapons. Mrs. Kimani Hollis is the person who called 911. So there would be, I think, no reason to go back or have contact with that individual.
All right, I'm gonna make sure Ms. Hollis is not here and wishes to make a statement. Ms. Hollis, are you present and wish to make a statement? All right, Ms. Abden, in light of the information before me, I'm inclined to give your client a signature bond through the jail and require that she stay away from that location, have no alcohol, drugs, or weapons. Is there any objection or anything additional you'd like to put onto the record?
No objection, Your Honor. So we're not ordering the evaluation. That's correct.
Not at this time.
Thank you, Your Honor. No objection.
All right, defendant's gonna receive a $3,000 signature bond through the jail, 1,000 each count. She's to absolutely stay away from that location on, I believe it's Londonderry at the La Quinta Inn, and she's to have no alcohol, drugs, or weapons whatsoever. Don't go back there, okay, ma'am? You understand that?
Yes, it does.
All right. I believe that will conclude her case. Best of luck to you, Ms. Gatson.
Position 1, Anderson.
All right, good afternoon, Ms. Anderson. Your case is 23 CR 005769B. You're charged with battery, family violence, and simple battery, family violence. Do you understand your rights?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, Mr. Howard, can I have that history, please?
Sorry, Your Honor. This has a cross-defendant case. It's on our add-on calendar. Just wanted to let you know if you wanted to handle them together.
All right, thank you. Can I have the history, Mr. Howard?
First arrest recommended. Who is the
Okay.
cross defendant so I can get that?
Blair, Washington.
Oh,
All right. I'm sorry, Mr. Thomas, please proceed.
Yes, Your Honor. Your Honor, as you already know, this is a defendant case, so I'm going to say victim defendant, but as you know, it corresponds differently in the other case. But on September 25th, 2023, officers were dispatched to a fight in progress call at incident location 497 Norfolk Street Northwest, Atlanta, Georgia, 30314 in Fulton County, Georgia, in reference to a female wanting a male to leave the location. The female advised that she had pepper sprayed the male. Upon arrival, officers met with both parties. The victim, in this case being the male, Blair Washington, was outside of the home crying, and the defendant was inside of the home. The victim stated that he and the defendant began to argue about beliefs. The victim advised that he had gotten into the defendant's face. During the argument, he admitted to headbutting the defendant first. The victim advised the defendant then headbutted him back and sprayed him with pepper spray. After the victim washed his face, the defendant began to beat him out of the house with a belt. The victim was able to show officers his back that had multiple belt marks on his back and neck. The defendant gave a statement to the officer, the defendant gave a statement to the officer which did not deviate substantially from the victim's statement. Your Honor, the recommendation in this case is a signature bond through the pretrial services, no alcohol, drugs, or weapons, no contact with the victim in this case, her cross defendant, a stay away from the incident location, and 1 anger management course. Nothing further from the state at this time.
All right, Ms. Abden, please proceed.
Thank you, Your Honor. My client is 23 years old. She's lived in Georgia her whole life. Since she was 13 years old, I apologize. She graduated from high school. She went to school at Clayton State University. She has a bachelor's degree in biology, and she is gainfully employed. She works as a barista at a coffee shop. Since she is recommended, I'm requesting, and it's her first arrest, I am requesting a signature bond through the jail, Your Honor. From the sound of the facts, the allegations, my client was not the first aggressor. It's my understanding there are no prior instances of violence between them. And I'm also requesting no further violent contact so they can work this out. We're also objecting to the stay away as she does reside there. And we are requesting, like I said, no further violent contact so they can both return and work this out.
All right, who represents Mr. Washington? Is it Ms. McLeod?
Gonna be Miss Kim.
It should be Miss McLeod. I think it's a conflict.
Yeah.
You didn't talk to Miss Kim, you spoke to Miss McLeod? Okay.
Miss McLeod, are you present? I see Miss McLeod. There she is.
I'm sorry, I'm here.
Miss McLeod, will you speak to your client, Mr. Washington's desire for contact with Miss Anderson?
And Your Honor, if I could just notate that the incident date was yesterday, and so I don't believe that there's been a sufficient amount of.
I'm aware. I just want to know. Thank you. Miss McLeod.
Client wants to have contact, Your Honor.
All right. All right, at this time, defendant is going to receive a $4,000 signature bond through pretrial, $2,000 each count. She's take the one-day anger awareness course, and she's to have no further violent contact with the alleged, with the cross defendant. Additionally, she's to have no drugs, alcohol, or weapons. Is there anything further?
No, thank you, Your Honor.
Nothing
All right.
from the state, Your Honor.
All right, can we do Mr. Washington now? Let me try
Your
to-
Honor, is that 2 on each charge?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Oh, wait, that's not who I have. Oh, there's 3 on the add-on. All right. All right. Can we do Mr. Washington?
Yeah, he's coming, Judge.
Okay. You, Mr. Washington, your case is 23 CR 005779B, and you're charged with simple battery family violence. You understand your rights?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, Mr. Howard, can I have Mr. Washington's history?
He got 8 total. He don't have any violence convictions that I saw. Last arrest was 2016 out of New Jersey for theft of services, possession of marijuana with intent. That's it.
Okay. Mr. Thomas.
Your Honor, given the statements that were made by the then victim, now defendant, the facts don't substantially deviate. I will, however, note that the indicia for the warrant in this case is because the defendant in this case admitted to headbutting the victim first, and so that is the indicia for it. And so the recommendation from the state is essentially the same facts because they're similarly, the same recommendation because they're similarly situated, but I'll just go ahead and put that on the record. That would be a signature bond through the pretrial services, a no alcohol, drugs, and weapons, a no contact, a stay away, and 1 anger management course.
All right, Ms. McLeod, I'm gonna assume that you don't object to me giving him an SOB through pretrial.
Objection of all, Your Honor.
All right, defendant is gonna receive a $4,000 signature bond through pretrial services. He's to take the 1-day anger awareness course, have no further violent contact with the cross defendant, and have no alcohol, drugs, or weapons. Is there anything further? This one will be per judge. Anything further?
Nothing further from the state, Your Honor.
All right. All right, best of luck to you both. That concludes your case. Who do we have next? All right, who do we have before us?
I'm sorry, I was muted. Position 12, Mr. Rangel.
All right, Mr. Rangel, your case is 23 CR 005766E. You're charged with obstruction. Do you understand your rights?
Yes.
All right, Mr. Howard, can I have that history, please?
6 total. Last arrest was in February for simple assault. That appears to be open. 2022 trespass DV arrest. 2022 felony theft by taking arrest. That's it.
All right, thank you, Ms. Allen, or is it Mr. Thomas? Mr. Thomas, please
Your Honor.
proceed.
Brief facts, officers responded to the location of 170 Creekmont Way in Roswell, Georgia, 30076 in Fulton County, Georgia, in reference to a warrant service on a resident there, that resident being Jennifer Wilkie. The defendant previously made the report for the warrant to which was at issue on September 24th, 2023. Upon arriving, officers knocked on the door and observed through a hole in the wall the defendant frantically motioning to Wilkie and whispering to hide. The defendant then turned off the lights. The defendant then advised that he was taking so long to come and answer the door because he was putting the dogs away. Once the defendant eventually answered the door, officers observed the dogs still being loose. That gives rise to the willful obstruction charge, Your Honor. The recommendation from the state in light of everything is a signature bond through the jail, no alcohol, drugs, or weapons. Nothing further to add at this time.
That was my inclination as well, Mr. Thomas. Ms. McLeod, any objection to the SOB through the
objection.
jail?
No objection at all, Your Honor.
All right, defendant will receive a $5,000 SOB through the jail. He's to have no alcohol, drugs, or weapons as a condition of that SOB. Is there anything further?
Nothing further, Your Honor.
Nothing further from the state, Your Honor.
All right, best of luck to you, sir. That concludes your case. Who do we have next?
Position 10, Oliver.
All right, excuse me, Mr. Oliver, your case is 23 CR 005764G. You're charged with simple battery family violence with the offense date of November the 1st of 2022. You understand, right?
Yes, ma'am, Your Honor.
All right, thank you, Mr. Howard.
We got about 20 arrests. Last arrest was on the 16th of this month. Possession of a firearm by a convicted felon and a fugitive out of Chatham County. The possession appears to be open. On probation, attempt or conspiracy to violate Georgia Controlled Substance Act. Use of communication facility in commission of a felony involving controlled substance. Possession of a knife or a firearm during the commission. Criminal street gang activity. In 2014, they gave him 5 years to serve and then 5 years probation for that out of Chatham County. He has a 2022 probation violation.
Okay, that's it. All right, thank you. Mr. Thomas, please proceed.
One moment, Your Honor. Okay, I found it. Your Honor, the facts of this case is that on, looks like November 1st, 2022, officers were dispatched to a domestic violence call at 1010 West Peachtree Street, Northwest Atlanta, Georgia, 30309 in Fulton County, Georgia. When officers arrived, the victim advised that she was assaulted by her boyfriend, the defendant. She advised that during an argument that morning, the defendant started to punch and kick her in the head and body, and then proceeded to throwing her belongings out of the apartment. There were no visible signs of bruising or abrasions. However, the victim did advise that there were guns in the home. Your Honor, with that, in light of that, the recommendation from the state is a signature bond through the pretrial services, no alcohol, drugs, or weapons, no contact, a family violence intervention program, and for the defendant to surrender all of his firearms to the Fulton County Sheriff's Office. Your Honor, the victim in this case is listed as Jamani Miller, Jamani spelled Jamoni. We actually had an opportunity to speak with the victim. She advised that they no longer live together. They have no children. She's since moved out of the location. She did, however, confirm the events in the warrant, but she states that she has had no contact with the defendant since the incident and that she does not wish to have contact. I believe she may be on the Zoom, so if at this time we could sound for Ms. Miller, that'd be great.
All right, Ms. Miller, are you present and wish to make a statement? All right, hearing, and I don't see anyone with that name. So Ms. Kim, please proceed.
We have no objection except to the course. He is not convicted. I don't think it is necessary, but everything else, we have no objection to a signature on bond. Thank you.
Is there anything you want to add, Ms. Kim? Because I'm not sure that I'm inclined to give that signature bond. Why don't you tell me about your defendant?
Sure.
Time.
Well, he is 38 years old, and this happened 2022, Your Honor, and he does not have a directly related to a violence related battery family violence cases at all. Indeed, he claims that Jamoni Miller was a tenant. They did not have a relationship, and they have not had any contact with each other ever since November 2022. There's no danger for her, or there's no reason for him to have any contact with her. So we have no objection to stay away, nor further contact whatsoever. They don't have children together. And Your Honor, my client has 2 minor children that he is responsible to take care of. He's self-employed. He has Opulence Exotic LLC. He's working as an owner of the e-commerce to sell custom-made clothes to take care of his mother and 2 minor children, Your Honor. And he completed GED successfully. He's turning around his life and trying to make a living successfully. So we would like to request for a signature on bond for him. Pretrial service. Thanks.
All right. Defendant will receive a $3,500 signature bond through pretrial per judge. He's to have no contact with Ms. Miller and stay away from that incident location. Additionally, he's to have no drugs, alcohol, or weapons, and he is to take that 1-day anger awareness course. Is there anything further? And that will be per judge, I believe. Is there anything further from either the state or defense?
Nothing further from the state, Your Honor. And did you add the provision of him surrendering all of his firearms to?
Well, when I say no alcohol, drugs, or weapons, I'm including that. I'm assuming that requires that surrender. But yes, let's make it more specific. He must surrender any firearms that he has to the Fulton County Sheriff's Office.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right. Best of luck to you, sir. Who do we have next?
Position 13, Scott.
All right. Good afternoon, Mr. Scott. Your case is 23 CR 005767Y. You're charged with theft by shoplifting and obstruction with the offense date of September the 24th. Do you understand your rights today?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, Mr. Howard.
17 total. Last was 2022, driving without a valid license. Probation violations, 2010, 2014, 2009, 2010, theft by receiving conviction.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Thomas.
Your Honor, on September 19, 2023, officers were flagged down, or an officer was flagged down to 1217 Metropolitan Parkway, Southwest Atlanta, Georgia, 30310 in Fulton County, Georgia, by Faraz Kahamani, the store supervisor, in regards to a shoplifting from the location. The store supervisor pointed out the defendant, who was holding 2 bags of incense, which he had stolen from the location. Officer approached the defendant, who advised that he had gotten the incense from another location several days prior. The officer then advised that there was video footage showing him taking the incense and that they needed to return to the store. The defendant proceeded to walk back to the location but refused to go inside. Officer then advised the defendant that he could walk inside willingly or to be placed in custody upon investigation, at which point the defendant took off running. While fleeing, the defendant dropped a handgun, which was later determined to be a fake. Your Honor, the recommendation from the state is a signature bond through the pretrial services, no alcohol, drugs, or weapons, no contact with the witness in this particular case, a stay away from the incident location, that being Chevron, and an anti-theft class completion. Nothing further from the state, Your Honor.
All right. Ms. Kim, in light of the information before me, I'm inclined to give your client a signature bond through the jail with the stay away from that location. Any objections?
No objection, Your Honor.
All right. Defendant's going to receive a $3,000 SOB through the jail, $1,500 each count. He's to stay away from that location and have no alcohol, drugs, or weapons. Is there anything further?
Nothing further from the state, Your Honor.
All right. Best of luck to you, Mr. Scott. That concludes your case at this time. All right. Who do we have next?
I'm sorry, Judge. I was muted. Position 14, Mr. Smith.
All right, Mr. Smith, your case is 23 CR 005770Y. You're charged with simple battery family violence and simple assault family violence with the offense date of the 24th of September. Do you understand your rights?
Yes, John.
All right, Mr. Howard.
Heard arrest, 2015 suspended license. He was recommended.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Thomas.
Your Honor, the facts of this case is that an officer responded to a call at 3380 Peachtree Road, Atlanta, Georgia, 30326 in Fulton County, Georgia. Upon arrival, officer spoke with the defendant, who advised that he was involved in a altercation with the victim. Officer noted defendant had a busted lip. The defendant advised that he picked up the victim when she was intoxicated and took her back to his apartment, where they continued to dispute they continued to dispute that they were having earlier that day. The defendant advised that he wanted the victim to leave the location, so he physically grabbed the victim. And when she went into his room, the defendant advised that that's when the victim punched him 3 times. The defendant stated that he and the victim have been staying at the location together for the past 2 to 3 weeks. The officer spoke with the victim, who advised that during the altercation, the defendant grabbed her, and that's when she was trying to get away. And so she may have hit him in the process, or may have hit him in the mouth in the process, in attempting to remove herself from the situation, but she did not punch him in the face. She advised that after the defendant slammed her against the wall, after the incident, he slammed her against the wall. The victim was able to show the officer a video where the defendant was throwing her belongings out in the hallway. And at some point, he threw what appeared to be either a computer keyboard or a laptop at the victim. She also showed a video where the defendant physically restrained her from leaving by grabbing her by her sweatshirt. Your Honor, the recommendation from the state is a signature bond through the pretrial services, a no alcohol, drugs, or weapons, a no contact, and a family violence intervention program. Your Honor, our office was actually able to speak with the victim, and she advised that they no longer live together. They have no children together. She stated that the defendant spit in her face and threw a few items at her, threw a few of her items in the trash. She also advised that she has no plans of returning to the location. She will need to retrieve some of the items from that residence, however, and that this is not the first time that the defendant has been violent towards her. However, it was the first time that police had gotten involved. I believe she may be on the call tonight. She may be on the call. She also wishes to have no contact with the victim. Her name in this case is Angel West, and if at this time we can sound for Miss West, that'd be great.
All right, I see someone named Angel. Miss West, do you wish to make a statement? You are not required to do so. If you do, we need you to turn on your camera and raise your right hand. Okay, I'm going to assume Miss West does not wish to make a statement. Ms. Kim, in light of the information before me, I'm inclined to give your client the signature bond through pretrial, require the course, and order no contact with the alleged victim in this case. This is his address, Ms. Kim?
Yes, Your Honor. However, he says that September 24 was his last day of the lease. So he is actually facing eviction. So he has no control over the place. So.
Okay. So the stay away may or may not be necessary based upon that information.
Yes.
And I'm sorry, Mr. Thomas, the information you have is that Miss West does not live at that location, but would need to retrieve some items.
That is correct, Your Honor. I don't
Okay.
know.
I'm not really sure how we would coordinate that in light of the eviction, but what we'll do is we'll say that he is to have no contact with her. They can use a third party to arrange transport of her items. He's to take, I'm going to order a $4,000 signature bond through pretrial per judge. If he wasn't recommended, $2,000 each count. He's going to take the 1-day anger awareness course, have no contact with Miss West, stay away from, he's not going to do the stay away, but they're going to use a third party for her to get her stuff. He's to have no alcohol, drugs, or weapons. Is there anything further?
He was recommended.
Thank you, Mr. Howard.
Your Honor, I just want to clarify that it is not my client's responsibility for her to make an arrangement to retrieve her belongings, because he has no control over her properties, Your Honor.
Okay, well, if she does need to try to get some things, she can use a third party to do it.
Yes.
And hopefully there'll be some cooperation there.
Thank
All
you.
right, best of luck to all parties. That concludes your case. Who do we have next?
Thank you, Your Honor.
This is gonna be an add-on position number 2, Mr. Lewis.
All right, let me go back to, oh, Mr. Lewis, where is that?
Was that last case anger awareness?
Yes. All right, Mr. Lewis, their case is 23 CR 005780C. You're charged with battery, family violence. Do you understand your rights?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, Mr. Howard, do you have the history for add-on 2?
Yeah, 18 total. 2019 probation was the last arrest. What else? 2019 failed to appear. 2019 probation. 2018 probation. 2014 simple battery disorderly conduct conviction.
Thank you. Is this your case, Ms. Allen?
I can certainly take it, Your Honor.
All right.
One moment.
What position is this?
Add-on 2, Mr. Lewis.
Oh, I didn't see him. Okay, let me go back.
Your Honor, this one also has a cross defendant who was
Okay.
arrested together. However, we could not find the booking number for cross defendant whose name is Jamesha Pan. We are not sure whether she is also in the same Fulton County.
She's not on this calendar or the add-on calendar, so I don't know, but we can look at that in a moment.
I see that as well. So this is a case out of the city of Atlanta. The incident date noted is the 25th of September 2023 at about 9:15 p.m. at 1000 Washington Street, Atlanta. Malcolm Lewis is alleged to have committed battery, family violence, causing physical injuries to Miss Jamisha Penn as they were engaged in a physical altercation. Mrs. Penn was observed to have visible scratches to her chest and her right eyebrow. In addition, her shirt was ripped. Police responded to the scene and observed Mrs. Penn holding a pot, like a kitchen pot, in her hand. She was ordered to put it down and did so immediately. She reported that she was trying to get her things from the living room and gather her belongings to leave the location because she'd been told to do so by prior officers when her uncle hit her cousin and with his cane. So there was a tussle. That did not include Mr. Lewis at that point. Another uncle, Mr. Lewis, then came into the house and started swinging at her, saying, "You're going to hit my brother. You're not going to hit my brother." And then a physical altercation began. And that's when police observed the visible injuries to her eyebrow and her chest. Trying to see where information about her arrest. It just says both parties were placed into custody and both were cited for battery.
And later transported to the Fulton County Jail.
Yes. So, Your Honor, in this situation, Mr. Howard, can you remind me of the history on Mr. Lewis?
He got 18 total. 2019 FTA probation and simple battery disorderly conduct conviction in his history.
Thank you. So we'd be asking for a $3,000 bond through pretrial services, a signature bond, no further contact with Ms. Penn, 1-day anger management, no alcohol, drugs, or weapons. And I believe that's it. I'm not sure if the location is his address. Maybe defense counsel can help with that information.
Okay. Ms. Kim, do you know is that his home? That's that
Yes.
issue in this case?
He's the one homeowner. He is the one who pays for the mortgage as well. Yes, Your Honor.
All right. As that defendant is not on the calendar, at this time. I am gonna issue a no contact. So what we're gonna do is defendant's gonna receive a $4,000 signature bond through pretrial per judge. He is to take the 1-day anger awareness course. Additionally, he's to have no alcohol, drugs, or weapons, and no contact with the cross defendant at this time. And I'm not going to order to stay away based upon the fact that that is his home. Is there anything further?
Nothing further, Your Honor.
All right, sir. Best of luck to you. That concludes your case.
Thank you.
Okay, you're done. Judge, I do have a quick announcement for Mr. Edward Howard. He was on our pull sheet, but he's not on the calendar. He was also interviewed by Ms. McLeod. I just wanted to make sure.
Is he gonna be taken today, Ms. Allen? Mr. Howard, he's not on this sheet. Was that upgraded, perhaps?
One moment, Your Honor.
All right, while we're looking to that, can we take another position?
Position number 5, Mr. Coles. And I was just told that he's gonna be upgraded, Judge.
Mr. Coles?
No, for Mr. Howard, Edward Howard.
Okay, that's what I was thinking as well. All right, Mr. Coles, your case is 23 CR 00577. I'm sorry, 577H. You're charged with fare evasion, public drunkenness, and terroristic threats. Do you understand your rights? All right, Mr. Howard, can I have the history, please?
19 total, 2021, fade to appear 2 counts. We got an opening burglary, battery, cruelty in the first, simple battery, 23 SC 186766. 2021 battery DV, cruelty to children conviction, 2020 trespass, 2019 trespass conviction, 2017 simple battery DV conviction. That's it.
All right, understood. Thank you. Ms. Allen?
Thank you, Your Honor. I'm just checking to make sure my notes about victim contact are in place. I appreciate your patience.
No problem. I'm assuming this took place at MARTA.
Correct. This would be Jonesboro Road and Shannon Parkway in Union City. He entered a MARTA bus and continued walking into the bus without paying the required entrance fare. I think it's $250 at this point. So this was 4:30 p.m. on the 25th of September. And the case is made and sent in by MARTA police. He was also charged with public indecency. Around the same time, he lowered his pants and urinated inside of the holding cell following his detainment or arrest. This was observed by the officer who had arrested him. He verbally threatened to shoot Michael Simmons in reasonable apprehension of receiving a violent injury. And I'm guessing that that is the bus driver. Loud, yelling profanities, unbecoming language, public drunk as well.
Okay.
I would say that based on the history in this case, there is a concern for risk to the public. You just heard about 19 cycles, including recent or 2021 battery. We would recommend for MMHC, but also signature bond through pretrial services and release after Thursday, September the 28th to meet with those staff. Stay away from MARTA, no further contact with Michael Simmons on the bus, no alcohol, drugs, or weapons, unless the drugs are prescribed prescriptions, excuse me.
All right, I'm gonna sound for Mr. Simmons. Is Mr. Simmons present? All right, Ms. Abden, please proceed.
Thank you, Your Honor. So it's my understanding that the public indecency was NOD'd earlier today. I just wanted to confirm that.
I don't see it on the calendar, so.
All right, because those allegations were read, so I just wanted to make sure. But anyway, my client is 39 years old. He was born in Georgia, lived here his whole life. He currently lives with his grandma, who's a pastor. He graduated from high school. He has 8 children, and 7 of the 8 are minors. The 8 and 9-year-olds stay with my client after school until their mom gets off work. So he does have an obligation to those children, and I'm requesting that you take that into consideration when setting his bond today. He's gainfully employed. He's been off work for the past 6 weeks on unpaid leave due to an injury. He was supposed to return to work on Thursday, so his future income and earnings, I'm requesting that you also take that into consideration for bond. His job is at a temp agency. He's working in a warehouse, and he also has a side job making t-shirts for events. And I am requesting a signature bond for my client through the jail. And if your honor is not inclined, a low bond at $200. That is all he can afford at this time. And it sounded like there was a mental health court referral I was not aware of until right now. And I did not get to speak with my client about that. And I'm not really sure there is a basis for it. And that is all.
All right. Defendant is going to receive a $6,000 SOB through the jail, $2,000 each count. He is to have no contact with Mr. Simmons whatsoever and comply with any MARTA restrictions that may be in place by MARTA itself. Additionally, he's to have no drugs, alcohol, or weapons as a condition. Is there anything further?
That is all. Thank you, Your Honor.
All right. Best of luck to you, Mr. Coles. Who do we have next?
Thank you, Ms. Taylor.
Position 6.
All right, Mr. Dominguez, your case is 23 CR 005774G. You're charged with battery. Do you understand your rights?
Yes, I do, Your Honor. Thank you.
All right, Mr. Howard.
Second arrest, last was 2019 DUI. He's a resident of South Carolina.
Okay. Okay, thank you. Ms. Allen?
Thank you, Your Honor. This is an incident that occurred on the 25th of September, 2023. The charge is a battery. I don't see that it's family violence. The victim in this case is Bailey, B-A-L-E-I-G-H, Studdard, S-T-U-D-D-A-R-D. So this is a Atlanta police citation. And the warrants here state that at about 12:30 a.m. at 2043 Cheshire Bridge Road Northeast, Mr. Dominguez reached into the victim, Mrs. Studdard's vehicle, and burned her in the left arm with a cigarette. Police responded to the call at that location in regards to a dispute. The accused admitted to reaching into the vehicle in an attempt to burn her passenger with a cigarette. He missed the passenger and burned Miss Studdard on the left shoulder, leaving a visible burn mark. This is near the location of BJ Rooster's Club. The victim who was burned reported to police that her friend, who was the passenger in the car, was a dancer at the location, and she was giving her friend a ride home when the defendant, who is a customer at said club, began arguing with her as she was trying to leave the parking lot with her friend driving the car. As this young woman, who's a dancer, as the passenger, Mr. Dominguez reached into the car. And it looks like on scene, Mr. Dominguez claimed that he'd been slapped in the face by the young woman who he was trying to burn, but missed and burned the driver. In this case, considering the defendant is not a resident of Atlanta, we would be asking for a $3,000 signature bond through the jail, through pretrial services, 1-day anger management, not to return to the location at 2043 Cheshire Bridge Road, which is BJ Roosters Club, and to have no contact with either Bailey Studdard or Mrs. Tomas, Tomas.
All right, I'm sounding for both of those individuals, Bailey Studdard or last name Tomas. Are either party present and wishes to make a statement? Hearing none, Ms. Abden?
Thank you, Your Honor. We have no objection to the signature bond through the jail. I am objecting to the 1-day anger awareness. And I understand that my client does live out of state. I just wanted to put for the record that he works for American Airlines. And so returning to Atlanta for his next court date will not be an issue. And it is, he does not have any other violent offenses. And so I am requesting that Your Honor grant the recommendation of a signature bond through the jail.
All right, defendant's going to receive a $5,000 signature bond through the jail. He's to have no contact whatsoever with either of the alleged victims in this case. He must further stay away from that incident location and have no alcohol, drugs, or weapons. Is there anything further?
That is all. Thank you, Your Honor.
All right, best of luck to you, sir. Who do we have next?
Judge, can you please repeat the bond?
5,000 SOB through the jail.
Thank you. Position number 3, Calhoun.
Okay. Good afternoon. Your case number is 23CR005772G. You're charged with simple battery family violence. Do you understand your rights?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, Mr. Howard, can I have the history, please?
8th arrest, 2012 reckless conduct NOLO. He was recommended, everybody.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Allen.
Thank you, Your Honor. This is a family violence case. I'm pulling it up right now, or at least some more specific information. So simple battery family violence. This is an event that occurred on September the 23rd of 2023. The victim in this case is Amanda Calhoun, and I believe that is also a cross arrest. So this is out of East Point on the 23rd of September, intentionally causing physical harm when he struck his wife, Amanda, with a closed fist in the right temple, leaving a visible mark. Amanda Calhoun reported that her husband, Jamie, kept getting in her personal space and face to provoke her. She felt fearful of being hit, and he had been drinking. She repeatedly told him to leave her alone and step out of her space. And when she was hit, she struck back, reporting that she was defending herself. She also reported that there was a history of domestic violence. When police spoke to Mr. Jamie Calhoun, he reported he'd been laying in the bed with his wife, arguing about bills and food. The argument spilled out into the outside on the porch area. Once on the porch, they began to physically fight. Initially, Mr. Calhoun denied hitting his wife, but was visibly intoxicated And then he admitted to hitting his wife, but claiming he was not the primary aggressor that she was. And so police arrested both individuals. Your Honor, I guess let's make sure Mrs. Amanda Calhoun is either on the add-on.
She's not on the add-on. I know
Okay.
that.
Okay.
So, is
I'll
she
look at
actually
that.
in there? Yeah. She is not on the add-on.
So we would be requesting a $2,000 signature bond through pretrial services, a one-day anger management, no further violent contact with Amanda Calhoun. I'm guessing they live in the same location, but we would defer to the defense at this point. No drugs, alcohol, or weapons. Thank you.
Okay. I'm inclined to grant that request. Ms. Apton, do we know, we do know Ms. Calhoun was arrested? We know that part for sure?
I'm not sure. I did ask about that, but I know that they live in the same place. It didn't look like from the warrant that they were both arrested.
Okay, so it's unclear. And Ms. Calhoun is not present on the Zoom conference. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna list it as no contact for now, unless you have other information, Ms. Abden.
Not to that effect. I do know that they do live together.
She was booked in.
She was booked in. Okay, so since this appears to be a cross arrest, defendant's gonna receive a $2,000 SOB through pretrial. He's gonna take the one-day anger awareness course, have no further violent contact with the cross defendant, and have no alcohol, drugs, or weapons. Is there anything further?
No, that is all, Your Honor. Thank you.
All right, best of luck to you, Mr. Calhoun. Who do we have next?
Position 4, Callaway.
All right, good afternoon. Your case is 23 CR 005773F. In this case, you're charged with battery, family violence, and cruelty to children in the third, with the offense date of January the 18th. You understand your rights?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, Mr. Howard.
10 total. Last arrest was on the 20th in Cobb County for obstruction. Got an open ag assault, family violence, 22 CP 211-465. Open giving false name in state court. 2022 probation, 2011 armed robbery, hijacking, motor vehicle. Possession of a firearm during the commission of obstruction, all of those were convictions, and a theft by taking auto conviction.
All right, thank you, Ms. Allen.
Thank you, Your Honor. The recommendation on the bond, Your Honor, is a signature bond through the jail, no further contact with Quintisha Beckham, who's the victim in this case, and to stay away from the location at 4658 Bexley, Bexley Drive in Stone Mountain. Also to complete the FVIP program and no alcohol, drugs, or weapons. There are 2 charges, battery, family violence, and cruelty to children in the 3rd degree. These are both incidences from September the 25th. We have been in contact with the victim in this case. I'll tell you about that in a moment. This is a lot of paperwork. This looks like this was a magistrate court warrant, Your Honor. That probable cause was found and arrest warrant was issued in May of this year. The allegation is while the victim in this case was holding her child, the defendant walked up, spit in her face, and began to physically punch her and threaten her while her child was present and she was holding that child. This would be a hearing that was held May the 8th of 2023. and then it looks like a arrest following that.
Okay.
The
I'm sorry.
information, sorry.
I'm sorry, go ahead. I didn't mean to cut you off, but what was the name of the victim again? I was trying to write it down.
Her name is Quintisha, Quintisha Beckham, Beckham.
Okay.
We spoke with Mrs. Beckham. She reported she and the defendant are no longer in a relationship. They do not live together, but they do share a child. And she had met up with him in a neutral location so that he could see their child on his birthday. When she got out of her car to engage with the defendant and allow him to visit with his child, he spit on her and punched her in her face and threatened her, saying she wasn't allowed in Bankhead and she and her son were going to die. They have been in contact and there's been no violence since this. She said this had never happened before, but did confirm the information in the warrant application and the hearing information. So we'd be requesting no further violent contact.
Okay, so you're not requesting no contact, you're saying no further violent contact?
She's on the Zoom today. I mean, I think my argument in general would be we're in a better position to make a determination about whether someone is in crisis or whether public are safe and children are safe. This is obviously an alarming situation and a warrant was issued based on it. So I would argue no further contact. I don't believe they live together. We could sound for Mrs. Beckham. Maybe she can help us understand.
Right. All right, Ms. Beckham, are you present and wish to make a statement? Okay, I don't see or hear Ms. Beckham. Ms. Abden?
Thank you, Your Honor. Was the recommendation a signature bond through the jail? Did I hear that correctly?
Ms. Helen, was that your recommendation?
Yes.
Thank you. So we have no objection to that, and no objection to a no further contact if the court is inclined. They do have a young child, 1 year old. So if there is no further contact, I'm requesting a third-party transport for visitation. I'm not quite sure what an FEIP class is. If I can just
FEIP, family violence.
That's the 6 month family.
FE. I heard E. We would be objecting to that as well, Your Honor. These are just allegations at this time.
All right. Defendant's going to receive $1,000 surety bond, $500 each count. He's to have no contact with Ms. Beckham. They can arrange transport of the child through a third party. Additionally, he's to have no drugs, alcohol, or weapons as a condition. Is there anything further? All right. Best of luck to you, sir. Who do we have next?
Judge, I do have a quick announcement for position number 11, waive their appearance, Mr. Potter.
All right, and 16 as well, correct?
Medical reset.
Oh, 16 is a reset and a waiver. Okay. All right, I believe courtroom 2 can be excused and we will continue with the waive cases. All right, let's pick up position 11, 23 CR 005765D, the case of Quinion Potter, in which she's charged with criminal trespass. Can I have the history, please, Mr. Howard?
29 total. Last arrest was 2022. Assault. On probation for simple assault. 2022 trespass, disorderly conduct. 2022 federal probation. 2022 simple assault conviction. He got history out of Tennessee and some other state. 2021 FTA trespass, simple assault obstruction. 2019 aggressive panhandling. 2019 more trespasses.
Okay, I think I've got it. Thank you. I'm assuming is our defendant here residentially challenged? Ms.
Yes,
Kim?
Your Honor.
Okay. All right, Mr. Thomas, please proceed.
Yeah, Your Honor, the facts of the case is that officer was flagged down by a manager at the Chevron located at 111 Boulevard Northeast, Atlanta, Georgia, 30312 in Fulton County, Georgia. The officer recognized the defendant as someone who had previously been trespassed from the location. The manager stated that he told the defendant to leave, but he would not, and he kept asking customers for money. In light of everything, Your Honor, the recommendation from the state is a signature bond through the jail, a no contact with the witness in this case, a stay away from the incident location, and a no alcohol, drugs, or weapons. Nothing further to add.
All right, Ms. Kim, I'm assuming you have no objection to that, which I'm inclined to grant in light of that. Are you requesting a BH for your client?
No, Your Honor, actually, he is recommended for PAD program, so they will do all that things.
Okay. So he will receive the $3,000 SOB through the jail. He stay away from that location. Do we know the name of the witness, Mr. Thomas? You're muted, but I did read you. He stayed one moment.
The one thing I did not write down. I'm pulling it up now, though.
That's okay. If you would just chat it to Ms. Bridgewater when you have it. Thank you.
Absolutely.
And no alcohol, drugs, or weapons. All right, we will now take the case of Shaquana Whitehead, 23 CR 005757G. She's charged with fair evasion and criminal trespass. Mr. Howard, can I have Ms. Whitehead?
I don't know nothing about Whitehead.
Okay, we'll defer to the state. I'm assuming that this is a case in which defendant just went through the MARTA gate. Does that sound about correct? Is it Mr. Thomas's case or Ms. Allen?
Somebody could give me a case number, I would be happy to roll.
It's
with it.
position 1623 CR 005757G.
Okay.
She, I'm assuming this is a young lady. I missed those details on the calendar where we were told number of days booked in and male or female. Hopefully that's coming back to us soon.
I do too.
I missed that information.
Okay, one moment.
And I just discovered, Your Honor, that the reason I didn't write it down, it wasn't on the warrant. We don't have the report yet.
Okay.
So we don't need a no contact with the witness.
Okay.
So this is a MARTA police report on September the 23rd of 2023 at about 3:02 p.m. while patrolling the West End station. Officers have observed the defendant trying to push through the handicap gate on the north end to get entry. She was instructed to use her Breeze card or to buy a card. I'm going to work, I'm going in, is what she reported after being told to pay. She was told to pay the fare, leave the station. She then walked to the front of the fare gate and pushed through without paying or attempting to do so. She was followed by MARTA police and instructed to exit. She continued walking and refusing to pay, stating she was going to go to work, and she refused to exit the station. She was handcuffed without any issues and taken to the staff room, identified, and a GCIC check was done. She came back with a warrant out of Jonesboro. She was transported for processing and then for Fulton County.
All right.
Very basic. Specifically West End at 680 Lee Street, Atlanta. We would be asking for $1,000 SOB through pretrial services and to stay away from MARTA locations unless paying for a fare. Showing proof of payment.
Okay, what we'll do is we will require that she comply with all active MARTA suspensions. She received a $2,000 SOB to the jail, $1,000 each count. Ms. Abden, anything you'd like to add to the record or any objections or other information you'd like me to know?
No objection, Your Honor.
All right. That concludes the entire calendar, I believe. Ms. Bridgewater, if you would review for me, I would appreciate it. Oh, before we do that, was there any news on the people who should have been brought today? The other, wasn't no information about the other cross defendant, whoever that person was. I don't remember who that was. Miss Kim, do you remember who that was?
Believe I was Pan. Hold on, please. Jamisha Pan. But we
And
have information.
I'm looking at that now, Your Honor.
Okay,
There's also Amanda Calhoun.
okay, that, I remember that one. Okay,
She was booked in. I took note of her booking number. It's 2315849.
What time was she booked in?
It
Yeah,
looks
she
like
may be
it's
on
after
tomorrow.
11.
So she'll be on tomorrow.
And Blair Washington as well, Your Honor. I'm not sure what happened to Mr.
We
Washington.
did Mr. Washington, Ms. McLeod.
We did.
We did. And you spoke about
did.
him. You did. It's been quite a day, hasn't it?
It's been a
Ms.
day.
Bridgewater,
Oh,
please.
actually, it was
It's been a day.
Howard,
Yeah.
Your Honor. There
Huh?
was Howard.
Howard was upgraded, so that one we
Right.
figured out. All right, so Ms. Bridgewater could review. We'll do that.
Okay.
Awesome.
Okay, once again, the reset date for the SAP calendar is October the 10th. Position number 1 is being reset further notice with a total $4,000 SOB through pretrial per judge. Number 2 is being reset further notice with a $5,000 SOB through the jail. Position number 3, reset further notice with a $2,000 SOB through pretrial. 4 is going to the SAP calendar with a total $1,000 good bond. 5 is being reset further notice with a total $6,000 SOB through the jail. 6 is reset further notice with a $5,000 SOB through the jail. 7, reset further notice with a total $3,000 SOB through the jail. 8, reset further notice with a total $4,000 SOB through pretrial per judge.
Not per judge.
Position, huh?
That's not per judge.
Hello, Mr. Howard. Okay, position number 8. That was the one that's not per judge. Okay, we go on to 9. With reset further notice with a $5,000 SOB through the jail. 10, reset further notice with a $3,500 SOB through pretrial. I'm almost scared to say per judge.
No, it's per judge.
Okay. 11 is reset further notice with a $3,000 SOB through the jail. Position 12, reset further notice with a $5,000 SOB through the jail. 13, reset further notice with a total $3,000 SOB through the jail. 14 is being reset further notice with a total $4,000 SOB through pretrial per judge. 15 is reset further notice with a $3,500 SOB through the jail. 16 is reset further notice with a total $2,000 SOB through the jail. Okay, we have 3 add-on positions, Erickson, Washington, and Lewis. All 3 of them were $4,000 SOB through pretrial. Okay. Are there
Any
any questions?
comments, changes, corrections?
Your Honor, I just have a quick question on the 10,000 surety. I guess I heard you say signature bond, so I didn't say anything. He's already being held on 11,000 for a felony case that was heard this morning. And
I'm sorry, what number? You have to tell me. What?
one sec. It is it's number 4.
Oh, the one I gave 1,000 surety?
Yeah, he's already being held on 11 for a felony case. Is there any way that you'd reconsider to a signature bond, given the fact that the state also recommended a signature bond through the jail?
My ruling will stand, but I appreciate your advocacy, Ms. Abden.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right. I believe we'll be in recess until tomorrow's SCA calendar, at which time Judge Mincy will be presiding. Everyone take care. Have a great rest of your afternoon. Bye-bye.
And Your Honor, on Jamisha Penn, who was the cross defendant for the add-on Malcolm Lewis, I do not see where she's been booked into the jail. I'll continue to look at that. Who should I communicate with to make sure we haven't lost someone? Okay, Ms. Kim.
Okay. And she should have been, she was well,
It says she was arrested and taken to the Fulton County Jail.
Mhm. And it will be referred to conflict attorney, but I have to prepare conflict forms.
okay. Hopefully we can find Miss Penn. If she's not on tomorrow's calendar, we definitely should be concerned. So let's do
I'll
all we
continue to
can.
look right now. Thank you.
All right. And Miss Strong, if you would make a note too, I believe. Is Miss Strong here? That's who told me that.
Yes,
Calvin-
ma'am.
All right. So make a note too, please, about that.
I'm
That
sorry,
was-
what was the name again?
Tan.
Jamesha, last name Penn, Penn. She was listed as a cross co-defendant or a dual arrest with Malcolm Lewis, one of our add-ons.
Okay, correct. Is that the only other person we were looking for?
Yeah. Calhoun, you
found-
found.
Edward Howard.
Howard was sent up. Calhoun is going to be on tomorrow. And hopefully Penn will be found and placed on tomorrow's calendar as well.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
All right, everyone. Take care.